Hey friends, it's Judy Klock here at Stampin' with Crafty Klock. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving holiday. I was really thrown off this week. I kept thinking yesterday was Sunday, but it's not. Today is Sunday. So here we are. We are ready to go. I'm just going to give it a minute to see if any of our friends join us. If not, we'll just go through the hints real quick. And if you're watching on playback, you will be able to pause the video, follow the hint, and restart it to get to the next hint. So the first hint is always the measurements. And I've given them both in inches and centimeters. So we always have imperial and metric now to make it easier for our non-US friends to join us. And I don't see anybody here yet. So I'm just going to read through our first hint. I'll do the inches first, and then I'll do the metric. So we needed a color, for one color of cardstock, I call it color 1, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. For the metric, it was 14.8 centimeters by 21 centimeters. And scored at 10.5 centimeters. You needed a second color of cardstock that kind of coordinates with that, and that was 4 by 5.25 inches, or 10 by 14.3 centimeters. A piece of basic white for the inside, again 4 by 5.25 inches, or 10 by 14.3 centimeters. The basic white cardstock for like a die cut or a punch. And these sizes are approximate. Depending upon what sentiment you choose, you may need to change it. But I've used for mine 2.5 by 2.5, or 7 centimeters by 7 centimeters. You need designer series paper. You need 6 coordinating pieces at 3/4 by 4.5 inches, or 2 centimeters by 12.8 centimeters. Then we needed a stamp set with sentiments and like shaped dies or punches, like round, oval, square, or your choice. Or you could just trim a rectangular or square piece on your paper trimmer. We needed a coordinating stamp pad. We needed ribbon, twine, or linen thread, and embellishments of your choice if you want to add embellishments. So if you're watching, go ahead and let me know that you're here. And if you're going to make the card, let me know. If you're just watching and you want to make it later, that's fine too. Just let me know. But I'm going to move on to our second hint. All right. So for our second hint, we are going to stamp a sentiment on, I can't even speak. We're going to stamp a sentiment on the large piece of basic white cardstock, and we're going to place that to the side until hint number 5. Now, this is optional. If you don't want to put a sentiment, hey, Claudette, if you don't want to put a sentiment on the inside, you can certainly skip this step. Personally, I did not put a sentiment on the inside of the sample card. So again, this is a completely optional step, and you can do it or just move on and just figure it out later. Okay. So if you're done with hint 2, let me know and I will kind of move on. But I'll give it another minute or two. Well, not a minute or two. We'll give it maybe another minute. Oh, my husband's computer has a weird thing on it. I'll have to go check it later. It's like a warning from Norton. Nothing bad, but I think he just needs to update his Norton, which I will take care of for him. Okay, so you're just watching today? All right, that sounds good. Let's move on to hint number 3. So now we want to stamp a sentiment. Why can't I say sentiment tonight? We want to stamp a sentiment on the small piece of basic white cardstock. Okay, so whatever sentiment you want to use, go ahead and stamp it on the smaller piece of basic white. Okay, so normally we always do our stamping first so that we can then close up our ink pad and move on. And I do believe this is the last of our stamping for this evening for this card. Unless you guys want to do something different, that's fine. All right, so now we're going to take that small piece, then we're going to either die cut it or punch a shape from it or trim it on your paper trimmer, whatever you want to do, you know, like a circle, a square, a rectangle, an oval. You know, we've got some great punches out there. Oh, hello, Trooper. That's Trooper, my little chocolate. He's not so little, my chocolate lab. He's down here to help. Okay, I don't think anybody wants to see you on here. Okay. He loves spending time with, okay. All right, thank you, buddy. You need to stay on the floor. Okay. All right. So while you're working and getting that die cut or punch, I just wanted to remind you today is the last day to register for Stampin' Bingo. Too much turkey, maybe. Could be, Claudette. I'm not going to lie. I took a fat nap this afternoon. I was tired. And it felt so good to take a nap. All right. So now we're going to, now that we have our punched shape, we're going to move on. Okay. And we're going to take that large piece of basic white from our second hint, and we're going to put it on the inside of our card. We're going to adhere that to the inside. Okay. I always like to add that piece of white to the inside. I just think it gives the card a nice finished feel to it. So I always will add that piece, unless I'm using like basic white as my base, thick basic white as my base. Then I may not. Okay. The Trooper's over there annoying Emma. So they're about to get into it. So I apologize for that. He's a puppy still. He's 3, but he's very exuberant, that little Trooper boy. But what are you going to do? I love them. They're my furry babies. Okay, so we got that piece of large basic white on the inside of our card. Okay, so now beginning at the top right corner of that second color of cardstock, we want to place that first strip of designer series paper so that it's angled down and to the left. So let's pretend my ruler is that first strip. So we're going to place it so that it kind of comes like that. Okay, so it's on a nice little angle. Okay, it's okay if it overhangs, okay, because we're going to trim that later. And this piece of cardstock is only 4 inches wide, and our DSP is 4.5. So I know it's going to overhang, but we're going to trim that off later. Okay, so go ahead and get that first piece on there. That's probably the hardest piece. But once we have that on, everything else will follow along fairly quickly. Now, to be fair, I said to cut 6. I can't count. So the first sample I made had 5. And when I went to redo it, and typed up the instructions, I put 6. So if you want to use 5, that's fine. If you want to use 6, that's fine. I have examples with both 5 of the strips and 6 of the strips. I don't think it makes a huge difference. But you can be the judge when I show you both of the samples. All right. So now that we've got that first piece down, we're just going to repeat hint number 6 with the remaining 4 or 5 pieces of designer series paper, leaving just a smidge of space. I said 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, just like a teeny smidge of space between. So the strips of DSP are not butted right up against each other. You see a little bit of that second color of cardstock coming through. Okay. So go ahead and we're going to get those on, and that shouldn't take too long. Now you can use Stampin' Seal, or you can use liquid glue. I almost would recommend the liquid glue. I think it just make it easier to kind of slide those papers where you want them. But again, either one is fine. It's your choice. It's always your choice when we come about doing this. So I'm just going to give this a little bit more time. I don't know how long it would take to get 5 strips of designer series paper on cardstock. Maybe next time I'll time it so I know. But it was a little bit rainy here today, but it was a nice weekend. I had Friday off, so I had a nice long weekend. But I tell you, all day yesterday, I kept thinking it was Sunday. It was so funny. So I'm just off. And then when I woke up this morning, I'm like, oh, today really is Sunday. One more day before I have to go back to work. The silly things we think of, but it was good. We got our tree up. We've got the stockings are hung on the fireplace. Jim has almost all of the outside lights on. So he's still got to finish, but it rained today. So he'll probably finish up this week. And I think that's it. I've got the labels for my Christmas cards ready to go. So I think we're in pretty good shape. I have 2 craft fairs coming up next weekend, and then I'm done for the season. And then we've got bingo coming up. Like I said, today's the last day to register. We've got my Fancy Folds workshop coming up. That's a free class. Make sure you register so that I can email you the instructions, and you're just going to use what you have. I'm going to send you the PDF, and we'll use what we have. Let me show you one of our cards will be a bendy card. So that will be one of the ones we'll be doing on my December workshop. So I think that's kind of pretty. This is that new set. It'll be in the January to April mini catalog. So, and the paper, isn't that paper pretty? So that was, I got early from the product purchase premiere. So I like that. I think that's Fancy Flora. I think it is. It's cold here, 69 degrees. I hate to tell you, Claudette, but where we are, 69 is not cold. That's like t-shirt weather. Okay, once all your DSP strips are adhered, right, we're going to turn it over and we're going to trim the excess from each side. So you could either use your paper trimmer or your paper snips, however you want to trim it. But just go ahead and trim off that excess paper that's hanging over that cardstock. Thank you, Claudette. Yeah, I really like that stamp set, and that designer series paper is very pretty. So, all right. So we're going to trim our DSP. All right. And then guess what we're going to do? Once we've got that DSP trimmed, we're going to go ahead and we're going to adhere this layer to the card front. All right. So remember to tell your friends to join us for secret stamping, because I mean, if nobody's watching, I'm not going to keep going, and I have fun doing it. So I hope that people will enjoy it. It's really basically mystery stamping, but I know Sharon Armstrong kind of has a lock on the mystery stamping. So I'm trying to brand myself a little bit differently with secret stamping. So we'll see, but spread the word, tell your friends. All right. So now that we've got that layer on the card front, we're going to take our sentiment label that we had way back from Hint 4, and we're going to put it on the front of our card with Stampin' Dimensionals, wherever you want to put it. It's kind of the focal point of your card. So wherever you want, just go ahead and put that on there with some Stampin' Dimensionals. All right. We'll give that just a minute or two. And then we are going to, so we're going to add ribbon and embellishments as desired. So like I took my ribbon, well, I used that elegant twine or whatever, the gold and silver twine, and I just kind of wrapped it around my fingers a couple of times and then tied it in the middle. So it's sort of a bow, but not really a bow, because it's kind of hard to tie into a bow. So I made it more like a figure 8 and just tied it in the middle, if that makes sense. Okay. I'm very excited to offer an international stamping retreat with two other demonstrators, one in Australia, Christy Cromedall in Australia, and Andrea. Oh gosh, I knew I was going to forget her. I'm so embarrassed. I can't pronounce her last name. Anyway, Andrea from Canada, Christy and I will be doing a stamping retreat. It'll be on February 25th. It will be a 6-hour event from 3 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. There will be 6 live stamping demonstrations, as well as challenges and prizes and mystery stamping. I know I saw that you signed up for it, Claudette. So this weekend is the weekend to sign up because it's normally $32. But if you sign up by tomorrow, by end of day tomorrow, Monday, it's 20% off. So you'll get it for $25.60, and we will send you everything you need. There will be a private Facebook group. There will be like an online classroom where you can get all the tutorials, and the videos will be there for you. So if you can't attend the whole day live, you can sign in to the portal and get the videos at any time after the event. The videos will be live after the event, and you can watch them at any time. So it will be, we're very excited for it. We think it'll be a great event. We're saying, like, use your stash, not your cash. So we're going to have fun folds. We're going to have 3D projects. We're going to have coloring techniques. We're going to have like how to like take different things or use things in a different way. So it's going to be very beneficial. You'll leave with a lot of tips and tricks. All right. So let me show you the 2 cards that I made. So here's one with the 5 strips. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I did this one with the 6 strips because obviously I can't count to 5. So this one had 6. And then I just used like a circle here. This is that postage stamp punch, just a couple of little gems. And that's it. But it's a great way to use like scraps of designer series paper. So, we always have those little scraps left over and we never kind of know what to do with them. This is a great way. Just make sure they're coordinating and off you go. And you've got a great simple card. It's pretty, but again, you're using your scraps of designer series paper. All right, everybody, that's it for me. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will see you Tuesday. I have my lesson at lunch. And then Thursday, I'm back for another live demo. I did take Thanksgiving off. Good thing, because I was exhausted by the end of the day. And I will talk to you all soon. Thank you. Bye.